Hi everybody, Irene was Stamp Addicts. I did a tutorial a while back on iris folding. Well, it was small enough where you couldn't really see it. So I'm going to do a big one. And since Valentine's Day is around the corner, I'll show you a heart. So what I did is I found a basic heart online, traced it, and printed it off on a piece of paper like this. And then I cut it out, which this will be my cover. So I just cut the heart out. I kind of turned it to the side and cut it out. So, and then I printed a second one for the base. So for this one, with the heart, we're going to have 3 sections. So there'll be 1, 2, and 3. You can see where this is how I created the pattern. And you can tell that that's how it all layers around. It kind of like swirls, like if you take and you make napkins fancy by just taking your finger and twisting them and it swirls. So that's the kind of effect it gives. So we are going to make this pattern. So what I did is I have my 3 spots. So this is like the template. I have 3 spots. And so there's 1, 2, and 3. I want to start up at the corner. And wherever I start is where I'm going to keep adding. So I'm starting right up here. And I want to do 5 of them. But that's number 1. Well, here's number 2. So we're going to run our line down here. Here's number 3. So you're going to keep turning this to make your template, because this is what you're following. And now we're back to 1. Now we're going to go up to this point and move your ruler over and give it space. So you're just moving it over a little bit. See how this is kind of, can you see how this is fanning right here? Well, that's what we're trying to do on here. And then this one, we'll pick a point up here at the top and move the ruler over. And the same here. And you just keep going. And they will cross into each other, which is no big deal. It's just a template. Lines are going to follow its pattern. So I'm on 3. 4. See how they're falling into each other? Which is fine. Because that's how you create, that's how you're creating this flow. And here's the 5th one. Sometimes if you feel that you want to add more to it, you add as many layers you want to, add as many points as you want to. I'm just doing 3 points. You can do 4 or 5 or 6. It depends on how much layering you want to do, and how thick you want it, and how many different colors you want it. I mean, it has everything to do with that, what you want. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 1 more. Where's my 1? Because this is going to be your center. So I'm going to do 1 more. And we will have 6. Because they're all different, believe it or not. Just depends on how you create your pattern. And you see I'm always going back to this point. Okay, see now the center is smaller. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I like to number them. So I know which layer I'm on just in case I screwed up, because you never know. And then your center here can be anything you want it to be. I just use a piece of scrap paper that's left over. Okay, so I am using basic Scotch tape, and I'm using a double-sided tape that is removable, because that'll be my first layer of getting completely around the outside of this, because what it does is it works from the outside in. And I want double-sided tape on it because I want to be able to pick it back up. So it's a removable tape, so when I'll be able to take it and flip it on top of the other one. Because this will all be upside down. Alright, so I have 3 colors. I just kind of got my DSP out and whatever I had scraps of, I just cut it all up big enough so you guys could see it. Let's do it this way. And I like to set them around me. So the first one is, my number 1 is here. I'm taking my piece and I'm just folding it in half. So we just fold it right in. You don't even have to fold it in half. You can just fold it and give it a lip. So it's basically like this. It's just got a little bit of a lip. Well, this edge goes on the edge of your line that you just drew. You're going to take your double-sided tape, removable, and tape it down at each end. And then you see this extra piece hanging off, just snip her off. And then move to the next one. So here's number 2. And then set it right on your edge, and then we're going to tape it on both sides again. Alright, now it's number 3. Grab your piece, make sure it's got an edge on it. And you see this one is kind of short, so we're going to snip her off. And then get your double-sided removable tape. Tape it down. Alright. And then start over at 1 again. Take your piece, put an edge on it, and set it on there. And make sure when you're layering on top of each other that there is no line in the middle. So, you know, make sure all the space is always covered. So I'm going to go to here, and we're just going to snip it. Use the double-sided removable tape. Okay, and then move to the next one. And do the exact same thing, put it on number 2. You see how the numbers actually help you, so you know where you are in your layering. So one's a little long. We'll snip her off. Number 3. And sometimes these pieces, when you snip them off, they'll actually work for your next one, which is great. So don't throw anything away until you're done, because you might need that piece. So, next one, and you just keep going till you get into the center. And they're going to start hitting each other, remember? How I told you that they will all start going, they'll hit into each other. They'll start going on top of another. Alright, and this one, and then see how I'm keeping the fold in and it's on the line. That fold is right on that edge. And we're starting to start layering over the other ones now. Okay. Next one. Now we're back at 1. We should be at 4. Alright, so now that we're back, it looks like I need a longer piece because we're going to start layering on top of the other one. So, here we go. Thanks, baby. And see, if you can't see the edge, you still can see the lines. And that's why we make that template, so you can see the lines. And you just follow the pattern. I'm entertained by my dog. My husband just brought me something, and the door has about this much of an opening in it, and he has it figured out that he can just push it open. Oh, there he did. He figured it out. He can just open it with his paw. It's funny, because he was sitting there for a while wondering how he was going to open the door. Oh, our puppies. Such good entertainment they are. You'll get a different look all the time. It just depends on what kind of paper you want to use, because it's all different. Okay, this one looks like we can use, looks like we need to use a longer one. I sure hope you guys can see this better than my last one. I tried to make it large enough for you, and one of my friends told me, Irene, I can't see it. So I figure if I went larger and closer, that you'll be able to see it. Okay, so we're on 5. Getting close. I'm on the wrong color. Here it is. Get your edge in. Make sure sure there's no holes. See, I'm just following the line. That's all I'm doing. All the way around. Following the line. And you can do this with any shape. You can create this pattern. Just give yourself as many points as you want. Like I started with 3 points. If you want 4 or 5, it just depends on. 3 is pretty basic and it'll work on anything. Sometimes I do 4, but it just depends, I mean, on how many colors you want to use. If you want to use 4 different patterns, then do 4 points. If you want to use 3 patterns, that's the best to get this effect. You need to at least use 3. So I always use 3. It's kind of what I'm used to. Okay. Getting close. And some of these, you can use the regular tape. Now that we're on each other, they're all on each other. Just tape it down. Okay, so now we're at 6, 6, and 6, the last round. Let's see, that looks big enough. And I like to just grab scraps. Scraps works really well. We all have lots of scraps. So now I need to decide soon what I want to use in the middle piece. Since our paper has 2 sides, I might just use another side. See this extra piece that I cut off? Glad I saved it because it fits right there. Perfect. Okay, so one last piece. Let's see. What do we want to use? Use on that side. We could even use this. That's really pretty. I mean, there's so many different choices. This is really pretty paper too. We'll just throw this one in. This looks like it'll... barely fit. I think I'm going to take 2 of them on top of each other. Sometimes I probably won't even notice it. Except for you. You'll notice it. We always notice. Okay, so hole is covered. Get rid of my scraps. Let's assemble this baby. See how cool it turned out. Because it's a lot different colors than this. These are just scraps I had around. So, and this is different paper, so I'm just flipping it over. I'm pulling it off. Remember I told you about that double-sided tape? Well, it's there for a reason, so we can get it off. Alright, cool. I like the colors. Those look pretty cool. Can't see much of it, but you can sure see how they are layered on top of each other. Okay, I decided to pick this Grapefruit Grove. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving it around to make sure all the pieces are in. And now I'm gonna flip it over. Isn't that cool looking? Super cool looking. All right, now we're gonna tape the base down, tape it all down. There's our regular tape, just taping her down. You don't want any of it to come up. Just taping it right to the cardstock. And see, the less layers you use, the thinner it is back here, because sometimes it can get really thick. And that thickness is hard because you want to cover the back up. So if you're doing a card, you cover that back up so nobody sees it, because you don't want anybody seeing that on the side of your card. Or even if you're doing home decor, you still don't want them to. Oh, cool. How cool is that? That looks awesome with that color on it. Love it. Okay, see how these edges are all popped off? Well, we're going to snip them off. Maybe. Snip it off. Alright. Oh, it's sticking to my hand. It's that double-sided tape. Alright, so now I am going to put a back on it just to kind of, I'm going to put some double-sided, I'm just going to tape it right down with this tape. I like to make sure it's nice and secure. We don't want our artwork to fall apart. I mean, we took the time to make it. We don't want it to come apart. So this you would do to your card too. Yeah, I would cover that sucker up. And then I'm going to put a black on the back of it. Black sheet of paper. And there it is. How cool. And this is popping up. And when you find stuff like this happening, which it's going to happen, just take your tape runner or double-sided tape, put it under it, and then it won't come back up. And then that would be the back. So I hope that was a little more informative for you, and you can tell that there is a pattern, and you can cut any shape, anything. You could even do probably a football helmet if football is your thing, or basketball, anything. Anything you can have a open surface to work your magic with. So I thought that turned out really nice. So that's iris folding, and you can use anything. You can use old tea bags, because I mean you can do anything that has a pattern on it and that's not really thick, because then it'll be super thick on the page, and it won't. And if you're mailing them and stuff like that, you don't want it to be really thick. So there you go. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for listening, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.